All right, John, President Trump charging ahead with his second-term agenda, seemingly unfazed by a series of legal roadblocks. Griff Jenkins is live in Washington on this for us. So, Griff, what's the latest in this barrage of lawsuits?
Well, hey, Sandra, and that barrage of lawsuits has judges lining up to knock down the president's executive authority. And the latest being U.S. District Judge Ana Reyes, a Biden appointee who has argued the premise of only two sexes is biologically incorrect, blocked Trump's order barring transgender people from openly serving in the military, calling it unconstitutional, writing this: "The cruel irony is that thousands of transgender service members have sacrificed, some risking their lives, to ensure for others the very equal protection rights the military ban seeks to deny them." Now, Reyes delayed her order from taking effect until Friday, giving the Trump administration time to appeal. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller reacted, saying district court judges have now decided they are in command of the armed forces. Is there no end to this madness? And a conservative who goes by the name Cynical Publius writes, "So when is a federal district judge going to rule that it's illegal to bar 80-year-old bipolar paraplegics from serving in the Marines?" Now this, Sandra, as another federal judge, Theodore Chuang, an Obama appointee, blocked efforts to shut down USAID, ruling that, too, is unconstitutional as President Trump vows to fight it.
Well, we'll be appealing it, I guess. Not I guess. I guarantee you, we will be appealing it. We have rogue judges that are destroying our country.
But wait, there's more. Yesterday, in yet another case, a federal judge blocked the EPA's attempt to recoup $20 billion in Biden-era climate grants. Sandra?
All right, Griff Jenkins on that for us in Washington. Griff, thank you. John?
All right, Sandra, let's bring in Kerri Urbahn, Fox News chief legal editor, for more on all of this. Here's what the New York Times wrote about all of the legal challenges to Donald Trump's agenda. They wrote, quote, "The legal clashes over President Trump's blizzard of executive orders are intensifying, with new lawsuits and fresh rulings emerging day and night. As of March 15th, at least 46 of those rulings have at least temporarily paused some of the president's initiatives." This would seem to be an unprecedented level of judicial intervention. Some critics might say interference in the president's agenda.
Yeah, it's crazy. By contrast, in the 20th century, over 100 years, only 27 nationwide injunctions were issued against administrations. Compare that with the number that you just put up on screen. Over 100 years. And Trump has been in office for how long?
So you're saying there's been more in the last 2.5 months?
Yes, than over the entire
2 months than there has been in the entire previous 100 years?
And so, so I think the question that really needs to be asked at this point is, at what point does the President of the United States get to be the President of the United States? Because if you take a look at these cases, they really can be boiled down into very simple but very important constitutional questions. Does the President have the authority to hire and fire? Does the President get to assess what makes the military, what military readiness is? When can a president remove illegal people from this country? When can the executive branch conduct audits? Can the executive branch manage spending on its way out the door? These are not crazy questions, and yet these judges are making it impossible for this administration to do everything by singularly blocking the actions out of the gates. They're not letting these situations play out on the merits and judging them at that point. They're blocking them with these injunctions, which basically is grinding, I think, the president's agenda to a halt.
And you mentioned this idea of, can the judiciary insert itself in the idea of national security and foreign policy, as Judge James Boasberg in the D.C. District appears to have done here. He's given the DOJ another day to come up with an explanation as to how and why all these Nicaragua potentially violent criminals got deported from the country. President Trump is calling for Boasberg's impeachment. Listen to what he said last night.
Radical left, he was Obama appointed, and he actually said we shouldn't be able to take criminals, killers, murderers, horrible, the worst people, gang members, gang leaders, that we shouldn't be allowed to take them out of our country. Well, that's a presidential job. That's not for a local judge to be making that determination.
So he said again that Judge Boasberg should be impeached, which brought a rare rebuke from the Chief Justice, John Roberts, who said that there's a long-standing tradition of judicial independence in this country, and that's why we have appellate courts. Don't go around calling for people's impeachment. What did you think of that?
I was surprised. On the other hand, I wasn't, because the chief with all due respect, is a political creature who does not like to be perceived as a political creature, yet he is one. He's also the one who appointed this judge in the Tren de Aragua plane situation to the FISA court, a court that did not exactly clothe
although this judge was an Obama appointee originally.
Right, but he put him on the FISA court, which, as we know, did not exactly clothe itself in glory with respect to the Trump administration. That's right. And so I think there's something to be said for defending your own, which I think may be a little bit at play here, the old guard defending the old guard. But look, if John Roberts wants to go about the normal appellate review, then I really hope that means that the Supreme Court intends to get involved soon on one of these presidential power cases, because the situation, I think, is becoming untenable. And I think the plane situation is emblematic of the tremendous overreach that judges are currently engaging in when it comes to the executive branch. Now, on the plane situation, I will say this. Was the Alien Enemies Act the right authority to invoke with respect to removing some of these people? That's an interesting question I think the courts are going to have to flesh out. However, a judge redirecting planes mid-air amidst a major national security operation, which we know falls squarely within the purview of the president, is just remarkable. And now they're fighting over, well, you said this verbally and the written order said something else and the planes went off in the middle of all of that. And that matters, by the way. Mark Levin, our own Mark Levin, litigated a case in 2003, won the case, and it's a case that speaks directly to the issues of orders and underscores the need for written orders. Why? Because then someone can look at it and see what the judge wants.
Yeah,
and if it goes up on appeal, right, and if it goes up on appeal, there's no confusion. And so for people to just blow off the department's argument on the verbal aspect of that, I don't think is fair. And I think they have a reasonable argument to make on the difference between a verbal and a written order here. And
a lot of the people who were on that flight were Title VIII removals.
Right.
And who knows, maybe they were deported during the Biden administration.
Right.
We don't know. All right. Kerri, a lot more to chew over on all of this. There's no question about that. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
On the show. Appreciate it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.